All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Tripwire podcast. We're part of the Triple Play Fantasy family. My name is Zach, and I'm joined by Toby and Joe tonight. The Tripwire will stream every Monday night around 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So far for the off season, we've been discussing sleepers by position, and then last week we talked about Fab and how that works with your waiver wire and some strategies. So check those episodes out. And then tonight we're going to be doing a mailbag episode. And then we got 2 more weeks until football really kicks off for us to really talk about the waiver wire. So then we'll be here every night before Monday Night Football kicks off, talking about some waiver wire pickups for you to get you ready for the week. So you don't win your league at the draft. It is about making the right moves on the waiver wire that wins you championships. And we are here to help you win championships. So like I said, tonight's going to be a fun show. We're just doing a mailbag episode. So a lot of great people out there send us in some questions. If you guys are watching live right now and you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We will try to get to as many questions as we can. Try to keep it fantasy football related, but we have some fun ones in here tonight, so don't worry about it being too serious. But this is not an ask me anything. We're going to try to keep it to fantasy football.
Please.
All right. So for the first one, let's see. We have from Davis Pang at Pang's Picks FF. Outside of Houston, which team do you think provides the least amount of fantasy football points? So we're talking about the QB, the top 2 wide receivers, running back, and the tight end.
You want me to go first? I'll take it.
Go for it.
I feel like the obvious answer has to be the Detroit Lions. I mean, we got Swift coming in a little banged up. We got Jared Goff. We have no clue if he's going to be good again. Is he going to be bad still? They just cut Perriman today. Who's their receivers? The only person that we're all kind of locked in on is TJ Hawkinson, and that's just the tight end position. So I don't see this team getting a lot of points. And I tried to rack my brain. I thought maybe the Saints because they're out of weapons right now, but I just kept coming back to Detroit, to be honest. I don't know about you guys, but it's Detroit, and I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, the only 2 guys from Detroit that I've been really keen on is Swift and Hawkinson, but even Swift is dealing with a groin issue, conditioning issue, so his stock is kind of falling a little bit. But I think with the Perryman wave, it gives us a good know about Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's been everyone's late-round flyer this year in Dynasty and redraft. So, yeah, but Lions would probably be second. For me, I think I'm going to go up to New York for the Giants because besides Barkley, and Barkley's ADP fell, but he's coming off the ACL. No one's drafting Daniel Jones high. We don't know about Galladay, Sterling Shepard, and Slayton. I still like Sterling Shepard as your late-round guy. And Evan Ingram hasn't shown it to us either, and that offensive line did not get any better this offseason to help that team out. And it's all about Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones doesn't prove that he can be a semi-good NFL quarterback, then that team's not going to move the ball. And they play in a division that has bad defenses and a really solid defense. So we'll have to see how that works out. But I think I'd take the Giants just a little bit over Detroit as number 2 as worst fantasy options.
Yeah. I like both those picks.
That pass that Daniel Jones threw to Saquon Barkley in practice, by the way, before we move on.
Go for it.
Buddy on him, and it was 8 feet behind him.
Oh, yeah. Great catch. Horrible pass.
Yeah. Awesome catch, but he's going to get laid out if that's the thing, and then we won't even have Barkley to worry about. So I like that option.
All right, so we're going to the next question. So from Jorge Martin at Jorge Martin 17, how high up are you moving James Robinson in your rankings?
So I think I have James Robinson a little too high, but I kind of have a little bit of a man crush on him because I had him last year. So I have Carson at 17, and then I have James Robinson. I have him above Miles Sanders, Mike Davis, Josh Jacobs, and Henderson. But I just think that he has shown us what he could do when it's basically him. I know everyone's saying Carlos Hyde. He was in there preseason, but he's Carlos Hyde. He's not really going to do any, he's always there in the background, but he doesn't worry me as much as everybody else is worried about him. So I got him up there. I got him at 18 for me. I think he's going to be the whole backfield again. He's going to get the 3 downs. He's going to get the checkoffs. So I'm excited for him, but I don't know because I had him last year if I'm thinking a little bit too much with my heart on that one.
Yeah, and when the ETN news first came out and I was looking at my rankings, 18 was the spot where I wanted to put him 2, and then I waited to watch yesterday when they played the Cowboys to see how Hyde was going to get involved into this offense, because last year we saw Robinson get these abundance of touches because Dara Ogunbowale and Chris Thompson behind him weren't any good. And I think Hyde is a serviceable running back to steal time away from him, but not as much as people want to think Hyde will. But I think Hyde will vulture some of those touchdown looks in the red zone. And I think I'm going to put him around running back 20, 21 in my rankings. Right in with Sanders, Davis, Henderson. He'd be my favorite to take there because I think his quality of touch would be a little bit higher than those other 3. But running back 18 was my first, but I think I'm going to temper a little bit and go towards running back 19, 20.
So let me ask you before you hop in, Zach. You got Josh Jacobs above or below him?
Above.
Above? I see. I got him below, but I was just curious. Yeah. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, no, so I don't do rankings, but we're around the area you guys are talking about. I feel like that's where I would lean him. I would have Josh Jacobs in front of James Robinson. For me, I think he had a great season last year. He's got that potential this year, but it's still not a great offensive line. I don't think Carlos Hyde is going to take too much work, but I mean, we don't really know. It's a completely different offensive scheme now with a different coaching. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. He definitely has way more value now than he did, but I think some people are getting really excited about him, and I'm definitely tempering expectations. All right, so this one was definitely for our man Alex, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So Dan Turner at Dan Turner FF asked, should we believe in Quez Watkins?
My heart says yes because I need it to be a yes, but I mean, there's so many targets I would put like people above him in Philadelphia. Like you got Smith, obviously, Reagor, you got Gardner, you got Sanders, you got Jalen Hurts running, which I think happens before you go to Quez Watkins. I just feel like Watkins is just that like Deshaun Jackson deep threat guy for us, and I don't know how we're going to use him. But if I'm getting him in like the last round, who cares? I'll take the shot. If he goes off against Atlanta, fantastic. Then maybe I have something, and if not, I just drop him because he was my last pick.
Me and Alex, as you know, if you watch previous episodes, we have a running bet of how good he's going to do week 1. And I hope I win the bet. So this question is kind of hard for me if I want to believe in him. But, I mean, he's shown in preseason that he can be a talent for this team. And if they're going to start him in the slot, I don't mind throwing one of my last 2 picks out at him because it's not going to hurt your team and it could benefit your team. So that's why we have these guys down there that you just want to throw a shot at, and he's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great week 1 like shot. Like I might use him in DFS, to be honest, in week 1 and just be like, okay, he's cheap. Go out there. Let's hope for a good game with him and Hurts maybe as a stack and call it a day.
Yeah, I think he's definitely, if we're talking redraft, which obviously I don't think he has much value in Dynasty, so we're talking redraft. He's definitely one of those like end of the draft pick where, like you said, let's see what he does week 1, see how many snaps he gets, how many targets he gets, and then we can either cut him and then come tune into us and we'll talk about the waiver wire of who you should pick up, or maybe you don't even draft him, you leave him on the waiver wire and you pick him up right before week 1 starts, or he blows up for you week 1 and then you pick him up. You just got to pay a little more. So
if you're in a Philadelphia league, you pick him up and then you trade him to the biggest Eagles when he goes
exactly.
There's a guy.
I mean, maybe you'll have one of those.
I got him pinned in. If I get him, I got him pinned in, and I'm trading it to that guy. I know it.
Yeah, he could be a Deshaun Jackson week 1 where he just blows up and then never does anything. So we'll see. But for Toby's sake, he's hoping that week 1 is not big. But we'll see what happens.
That bet.
But I know if Alex was here right now, he'd be saying that he definitely believes in Quez Watkins. So at least he's going to be a starter. It looks like at least in the 3 wide receiver sets.
As
maybe
soon
2,
as this
so.
question came in, I just saw the group chat go like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, we knew who that was for.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We got not a question, just a comment. Though Eagles and Falcons could be a shootout, which is very true. So that week 1 matchup.
Yes, I'm going in on that game, I think.
Yeah, so definitely not a bad idea to throw in Quez Watkins for that first week just to see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. If anyone else has any comments or questions, you put it in the comments for us, and we'll try to answer as many as we can as we keep rolling. All right, so this is from David Mendelson at DMendy02.
Who's
What
that
is
guy?
one? Yeah, I've never heard of him. What is one spicy QB take each of you have?
All right, so I'm gonna go past the Jimmy Garoppolo starts all 17. I think everybody on Twitter knows that I've been pulling that since like March, but I'm gonna say that Taysom Hill comes in after week 5. I'm gonna say Winston has 5 games. He screws it up in there. It becomes Taysom Hill, and it's him for the rest of the season. I mean, Winston's getting the Packers, so he's getting those cornerbacks. He's getting the Patriots in those first 5 weeks, so he's getting that defense, and he's getting the Washington football team. So he's getting 3 tough defenses, which means a very high possibility of turnovers in my eyes. And if he gets a bunch of turnovers and Sean Payton starts off 2-3, let's say, I think you go right over to Taysom Hill and you try to save that season because you're starting off 2-3 in a division where you're facing Tom Brady. You can't lose games.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what you were going to talk about, Joe, before.
I knew it was going to be the Saints.
When I saw the show sheet and it said Joe by this question, I was like, he's going to talk about Taysom Hill. And I changed my whole answer because I was going to say Jameis started all 17. But so I'm gonna go a different route, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be spicy for a lot of people. It's gonna say Taylor Heineke starts more games than Ryan Fitzpatrick this year because Ron Rivera is a tricky coach to get your mind around because they call him Riverboat Ron for a reason. And once Fitzpatrick starts turning into Fitztragic a little bit, I think Taylor Heineke has a good chance to start over him.
I didn't think of that at all. Like, could you imagine being Fitzpatrick and you basically have the Dolphins basically in the playoff race and they put Tua in and then it happens again to you possibly all over again? I like that.
Not a lot of people are going to like it, but I think it's in the realm of possibilities.
Yes, Dave, it's Hollywood. Yeah.
I like those. So I think for me, this is going to be a shout out for Troy. I think Tua is going to be a top 10 QB this year in scoring.
Troy's going to do victory laps like no other if Troy does that. If Tua does that. And I'll applaud it because I'm not on that boat, but it would be nice to see.
No, I'm not saying draft him that way. You don't need to. Yeah. The ADP is not there, and people aren't valuing him like that. But I think he's definitely capable of. That's my spicy.
ADP, like you talked about it in our first episode. His ADP so low, and now with this whole like possibly Watson nonsense, like
he's going to go even lower.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think Watson's. Yeah, I don't think Watson's going there. But speaking of Watson, not to get spicy with all of that, but we did have some comments of. Do we think the Eagles grab Minshew to start after they trade for Watson, who could be suspended?
I don't want a scenario, a multiverse. I don't want nothing to do with this question.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I think they just grab Minshew just to have as a great backup.
Because
spent a 6th-round pick.
Flacco and Mullins looked terrible, and I don't think they believed in that. So I think Minshew can also grasp more around the same offense Jalen Hurts could run because he has legs as well. I think that's what they did to move, not for Watson.
Well, that's my thing too. Is like you get Minshew because he's more like Jalen Hurts, and I was saying it to somebody the other day. You kind of go back to Flacco, Lamar Jackson, where they had to change the whole offense up when they flipped that, and they didn't want to do it in reverse if Hurts was to go down this year.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Minshew is going to be like the most perfect Philadelphia person though. Like I hope he moves in a block away from me and we're best friends.
Yeah, they definitely need to name some kind of style of cheesesteak after him.
Oh, God.
And we got a little shout out for the cutoffs. Got to maintain that brand.
He hates him. He hates him. Every Friday night he gives me shit about my cutoffs all the time. So
you have the cutoffs, and next episode I'll do the crate challenge in the background. me and Juju.
Yeah.
There you go. So hopefully this is spicy enough for you, David. But it'll be a fun season, definitely for sure. There's a lot of quality quarterbacks out there, so it'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out. All right, so from Chase Gardner at Coach Chase G, we have in a rebuild or a retool, what return would you want for Darrell Henderson? So this is for Dynasty.
So I'm going to, I've seen a few trades that I'm just going to say out here. I've seen Henderson for Jacobs straight up, and I would want the Jacobs side on that. and I've also seen Henderson for Mike Davis and a second. Those are the only trades I've seen in my leagues so far. I don't have Henderson anywhere, unfortunately. But I like that Davis in the second because you're kind of building for the present and the future. Like you're not really backing up too much, but you still get a pick there. I'm not big on Henderson because I like Sony Michel going there, and I think it is going to make a difference that Sony Michel is there.
I mean, for me, if I'm doing a rebuild, retool, I kind of look at it as not that I'm trying to lose, but I don't plan to win. So to me, Mike Davis wouldn't add any value because he's a one-hit wonder this year. I mean, he had a great year last year. I mean, going in for you this year, he's going to only give you something this year, then he's done. So for me, I'd want a pick. If you want, like Josh Jacobs, I think is a great young player because he's 23 still. So he still provides value to help you rebuild. And I mean, if people act like how they are now, he's not going to do anything for you this year. I think he's actually going to be a pretty good running back this year. But if you can get a first round pick, just take it. Don't even.
Oh yeah, if you get a first,
don't even hesitate. But if you're looking at second round picks, if you can get like a young player thrown in there, sure. Otherwise, you might just want to hold on to him and just wait and see, because if he ends up starting off the season hot, you might be able to get more value for him. People want him because maybe you have a contending team that's like, you know what, let me grab him now. I don't need this pick or something in the future.
Yeah. And what I was going to say, if you couldn't get picks for him now, I was going to say also hold off. But I would also look into the receiver market instead of going straight for a running back to get back for Henderson, just because there's more of an abundance of receivers and there's all these young, talented receivers. And you only have Henderson for 1 year. So the receiver market on trade value is a little bit lower than running backs because running backs are always in high demand. So you could probably crank up the tier list for a receiver other than a running back in the same tier as Henderson.
Yeah, I like the idea of like holding on to him because I do think he's going to pop off for a few games and then like his value kicks up a bit more. And like you said, then you might be able to pull a first round pick from a team who looks like he's like taking off.
Mm-hmm. All right. So from Pig Bird Jet fan, which Miami Dolphins wide receiver do you like most?
I just feel like for me it's Will Fuller. I know he's missing a game, and I know he comes with that like I'm either hurt or I scored 3 touchdowns and 200 yards. But if I'm getting him with his ADP and the spot he's at, he's not my first, he's not my second receiver. So like he's my guy that's going to pop off and win me that week. I don't really know much with Waddle yet. I don't think Parker should really be in this conversation. So it would be Waddle or Will Fuller, but I know what Will Fuller can do. And I always lean to the side of what I know.
I think I'll take the unknown and Waddle in this offense. And I think if we see the leaps that we want to do, I think Waddle's going to be a big part of it out of the slot. And also, I think he has a little bit of a rushing floor in this offense with end arounds and stuff like that. And I think he'll be the guy to catch the quick wide receiver screens and stuff. And he has the ability to just pop off and take it to the house. So I think I'd go with the unknown and Waddle just because Fuller, a lot of soft tissue injuries in the past. He's missing 1 game, and that's why his ADP is so low. But I could see where you're coming from on Fuller, though, because he is what we know.
All right, so I got to break the tie. So if we're talking redraft, which I'm going to
say Devontae.
Don't pick Parker now.
Oh no, I'm not picking Parker. We don't want to get taken off the air. So I'm going to take this as a redraft question. For me, it's all about value. It's got to be Will Fuller. Where you're drafting him that late, you don't need him for the first week, and hey, maybe I'll keep him healthier because he won't be in the first week. But I mean, he was a top 10 wide receiver last year in points per game before he got suspended. I think he was up at like wide receiver 7. I had him in one of my leagues. It was great. So for me, not that I'm trying to be biased, I think Waddle can be great, but let's be honest. I think we're all kind of spoiled by the rookies last year and how great some of them were. It's not always like that. It would also shock me if Waddle, he gets off to a slow start. Now, great. He could be amazing right off the bat. He's fast. He's got a lot of skill, but just at that value, I have to lean Will Fuller. That doesn't mean that Waddle's a bad player.
That was my favorite analysis ever. You were like, I had him. He was great. Drop him.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think with Waddle, I think the only reason why I took Waddle is from more of a catch standpoint, from a PPR standpoint, because Fuller has the big play and he's good for 5-6 grabs, but he also is getting a lot of targets in Houston because he was the number 2, but they also threw a lot more. And the way this Miami offense, and I don't know yet, I think I'll take Waddle just because I think he's going to see more underneath and stuff like that.
No, that's fair.
We're gonna have to have bets on everything. We gotta
We're just turning it into a debate show. Who's going to make a bet this week?
And Jorge's saying hi from Fantasy and Frames. We love Jorge, so thanks for watching us. All right, so the next one we got Malcolm McMillan from McLateral FF. What is more important to you in the first 3 rounds of a fantasy draft? So expected points scored or positional advantage? And I think this is a very prevalent question since a lot of people just had drafts, but we still have a lot of drafts to go this week leading into the season.
I mean, like, again, it all kind of depends on your rules and everything like that. So we're just going to go very general with it. I'm taking the safe floor on the first couple rounds because I kind of think of my draft like a house. And if I build a really crappy foundation, the whole thing's going to fall down. So I need that, like, first couple rounds to be as solid as possible. I don't want to play around too much and like, oh, I'm going to win the positional advantage here and here every week, and then I suck. So I'm going for that safe floor. In this question, I'm leaning more towards the expected points, I guess. But it really just depends on like my position, the rules. Like there's so many variables in that.
Yeah, and positional advantage, I think, only works to an extent of your smaller leagues, your 8 to 10 teams. You get that top tight end, you'll probably have a positional advantage over some of the teams in your league. That top quarterback, you'll have a somewhat positional advantage, but I don't think quarterbacks are that much different from each other in terms of scoring. But yeah, for me, it's expected points scored. I'm going to build a foundation, double running back, or if receiver falls to me, stuff like that. I want to take what I think has the safest floor, and then maybe after round 3, 4, bank on a little bit more upside after I have what I feel is safe. But it's also about how the draft board falls to you. If there's a guy sitting there that you think has really good upside and you want to not take the safe floor because the floor maybe not be that safe, then I'll probably go upside there.
No, I'm just going to leave it at that because I agree with both of you, especially the smaller leagues, the 8 to 10. Nothing wrong with those leagues. They're a lot of fun. I think positional advantage will give you more of an advantage because everyone's going to have a pretty good team. So if you can make up that difference at the position, go for it. But yeah, otherwise, I definitely prefer having like you said, a strong foundation. I will take a quick break from our questions. Just to talk about Monkey Knife Fight real quick. So we have an awesome code with Triple Play. So if you're a first-time user for Monkey Knife Fight, you use the code Triple Play, and they'll match your deposit up to $100 as long as you just deposit $10. So I mean, it's just free money, extra money to play with. If you haven't been on Monkey Knife Fight before, it's a DFS type site, but it's a little more unique. It's not really so much like setting lineups. There's just a lot of fun, unique games to play there. So it's just something a little different, a lot of fun, and they have a bunch of different sports represented. So if you haven't been there before, try it out. Use our code. It's Triple Play, all one word, and get yourself some extra money from Monkey Knife Fight and win some extra cash. All right. So the next question, we got Jason Voorhees at I'm going to go with Mustang 3651. So who is the best option to replace JK Dobbins in Baltimore's backfield? So is the player on the current roster, or do you think someone from free agency makes the most sense?
I mean, I think it's Gus Edwards. I don't really think anyone's coming in. Like that Todd Gurley thing's not an option in my head. If you wanted to get depth, I guess throw like an Adrian Peterson there, but it would still be Gus Edwards is the best guy. I heard a rumor, I don't think it's going to happen, of like Melvin Gordon over to Baltimore. That would mess with it a bit. But right now, I'm all about Gus Bus. Maybe because I have him in like every best ball ever, but I am all about Gus Bus this year. I think he's going to be really, really good. He's right where I was going to draft Dobbins if I was going to draft him. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm on the Gus Edwards train too. A free agent, I mean, the best fit to me because they're going to look for somebody that can catch the ball a little bit more would be a Le'Veon Bell type. But I don't know, that's probably not going to happen. But that when I saw free agent, that's the first name that came to my head. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'd look on your waiver wire for Tyson Williams. He'll probably get more reps than Justice Hill if you're struggling, if you maybe lost ETN and both Dobbins, and you're scraping the bottom of the barrel right now. But Gus Edwards is probably in my running back 22 to 24 range at the moment. And I think he's the favorite to have that backfield. But it also, to me, the Dobbins injury also bumps up Lamar for me because I think his rushing floor goes way up. And then I also think it bumps up Mark Andrews.
I fully agree.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Gus right now. I do like a comment from Drop the Mic talking about Latavius. We've heard some rumors of he could get cut. That makes sense there. To me, with the whole pass catching thing, that's just not really what that offense does. We'll see if that changes. But
how old is Latavius Murray? Because I feel like he's like
31.
I want to say he's in his early 30s.
God, I thought he had like an AARP membership at this point.
I mean, he basically just followed Mark Ingram over there after then Mark Ingram left. So I mean, we'll see.
Have him trade for Boston Scott. He just had a real great catch and run. Take him from my team so that we can put Gainwell in more.
Do y'all think a name that would be interesting in Baltimore is a David Johnson if the Texans are fire sailing?
I mean, at this point,
for my fantasy teams, yes,
they can use more bodies, but I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. For me, I think Gus Edwards just makes the most sense, just because you
paid Gus Edwards.
I mean, it's Gus Edwards. You placed a second round tender on Gus Edwards in fantasy, so it's Gus Edwards now.
Yeah.
But from a body standpoint, we can throw a lot of names out there.
Correct. Let's see. Josh just want to say hi. How's it going, Josh? Thanks for watching us. All right, let's get to that next question. So we got Ryan at RyanPros_FF. Which player going outside the first 2 rounds of Dynasty startups has the best chance to jump into round 1 next season? And then we can also talk about redraft too.
So Alex said this beforehand on Twitter because he wasn't going to be able to make the show tonight. I like Swift for the idea that he could be like a Kamara with all the catches and all the targets and everything. But he's got to be healthy for that. So that's, like I know we were talking about that earlier. I need him to be healthy, but that'll be my shot. I'll take Swift and say that he zooms up there, young running back who should have been picked instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Chiefs. And I think he moves up if he's healthy.
Yeah, I haven't really done a Dynasty startup in a while, so I don't know what ADP is looking like. But gauging, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, I don't think was going in the first 2 rounds. He might have scooted in there. And
Josh,
I know. And I think he can make the jump in this offense, especially if we get a healthy Dak for most of the season at most. I think CeeDee Lamb runs away with that wide receiver 1. And the Cowboys have an out in Cooper's contract in this upcoming year to cut him if they so please. And if they're not doing good come deadline, you can see probably Cooper shipped out. So I think Lamb's the guy that could jump in those first 2 rounds. Not round 1. I think mid round 2, I think he can make that jump. I think his ADP earlier in the year was like 3-4.
Yeah, no, we're on the same wavelength. That was before I even saw the comments, before you said anything, I was thinking CeeDee Lamb for both Dynasty and redraft. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan, so a bit of a homer pick, but I mean, like you said, everything you just said, he could go crazy this year. And like I said, Amari Cooper could easily be cut after this year to save some money. So
I'm too much of an Eagles fan. I can't say it. It's not happening. I'm just not going to say it.
No worries. All right. So here's a fun one. We'll try to keep it clean. NFL Picks Pro at NFL Pro Picks. What's the funniest fantasy team name you've ever seen?
That's the thing. I can't say some of the ones that I thought were funny. Like I like Kamara Action was a pretty good one I seen the other day. Like I actually wrote Breezy like Sunday Morning was a decent one. I'm not big on dad jokes though, and they're all kind of like dad jokes. So for me, like I don't even care. I usually change my team name every week to trash talk the person I'm playing. That's usually what I do. I make like a short message at them.
Oh, so that's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I'm no trash talker. I can't help it. It's Philly.
I don't have one that's clean. I can't get my brain to work around a clean one because I always change my names to R-rated, not Nickelodeon dad joke.
You don't want to be the MVP? You don't want to be like Trubisky or whatever? I
mean, Hot Chub Time Machine was pretty good.
That's a pretty good one that Josh wrote. I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, and I can't say the one, but if you follow Linda on Twitter, she had a good one the other day that I will not repeat on here, but it was hilarious. So definitely go check that one out. All right. So this is another fun one. We might need to explain it a little bit, but we got Malcolm's back for another question, so we appreciate it. Why is Josh Jacobs the Klondike bar of fantasy running backs?
The explanation of this was fantastic. So whoever's watching get a chance to go look at that question. It's great. But he's like blah. He's there. He gets you points. And you're never happy about it. But then at the end of the day, like, you're like, oh, he got me like 16. That's pretty good. Like, I worry about him. I know you were saying you like him, but I worry about him this year with the line. So I don't know if he's going to even be a Klondike bar at this point. Like,
Maybe a melted Klondike bar.
Candies now? Like, can we just switch the whole episode up?
No, I think me and Zach might be on the same page, but I see a lot of tweets talking about the running back dead zone in like round 5, 6. Right there where a lot of people are hammering receivers. But I also think there's value in Josh Jacobs there as well. I think he is a good serviceable running back too. And I don't think the Kenyon Drake is what's killing him right now. But I also think his red zone numbers will be good too. And we've seen him score touchdowns. I mean, he finished running back 8 last year.
Yeah, he just gets there. I don't know.
Like it's not sexy, but he gets there, and I think he can still get there. I mean, he's still 23. He's shown he can pass catch as well. So I don't think he might not catch as many balls, but I don't think he gets that many carries taken away from him to not still be there at that running back 2 kind of fringe.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a Josh Jacobs fan because his value just keeps going down. Yes, please. So for me, my favorite ice cream is the chocolate chip cookie sandwich. So he is not at that level. This might be a hot take, but he's more of like a Choco Taco instead of a Klondike bar for me, where it's good. You're excited to get it, especially at that value, but still not elite. But yeah, so that was a fun question.
Like you said, though, at his ADP, like if he falls to the right place, like just give him to me, like because he's not, like you said, he's not going to be sexy. It's not going to be like electrifying to watch, but he'll get you the points, and that's what you need. Give me all the Josh Jacobs.
We got some more team names here real quick. So I remember the Dwayne Bowe one from years ago. That's a blast in the past there.
My dad.
Country roads.
Show me your TVs.
Oh, that's a classic. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Shout out Dalton. He's a good buddy of mine.
There you go. All right. So from MOC at MOC 393030006, Fields or Lawrence and why? I'm gonna take this as a redraft question.
You know, you said that really well. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say you nailed that.
But like we went straight into it. I was like, I would have stuttered.
Yeah,
got to read off stats.
Yeah,
it's all about reading stat numbers. Right?
That was great. But for me, I think it just comes down to the simple fact that Lawrence, barring injury for either of them, Lawrence plays 17 games. Where who the hell knows what they're doing with Fields right now? Matt Nagy's switching it up. Like Nick Foles might start week 1 at the rate we're going. So I'm all about Lawrence. They're going to be a bad team. They're going to throw a lot. Where the Bears at least have a little bit better of a defense. They might run more with David Montgomery. And Lawrence is just going to play all 17. So I don't think it's as close. I think Fields will be more electrifying when he gets out there. But when does he get out there is the question.
Yeah, and right before we hopped on, the Jaguars' defense just got worse. They traded Sidney Jones to the Seahawks. So that goes to your point. That goes to your point of probably picking Lawrence now at this time. I'm a Fields fan, but we don't know what Matt Nagy's going to do. Apparently, he believes a little bit in Andy Dalton more than all of us. So, but if you told me Fields was starting 17 games right now, like he started week 1, I would probably take Fields just for the rushing advantage. We want that Konami code in a quarterback, and I feel like he can spread the ball more around to Mooney, Robinson, Cole Kmet. What's the rookie receiver they got in Chicago?
Daz Newsome, and Montgomery out of the backfield, stuff like that. But right now it has to be Lawrence just because we know he's starting week 1, and we're probably going to get all 17 from him.
Plus, he gets Houston week 1. So even
if
he gets Houston.
He gets Houston twice a year.
Yeah.
So I agree with both of that. So then I want to make it a little tougher now. Let's say it's Dynasty.
I
took Fields a lot at 1 in Superflex rookie drafts.
I'm going to add a stipulation to it, though, and then I'll answer it. How long does Urban for the coach?
We don't know.
But if it's like only a couple of years, I'll take Lawrence. But if he's there for some John Gruden, like, never going to get fired for some reason type setup, then I'll go with Fields. I'm not big on Ohio State quarterbacks because they've proven me, wrong every time I like them. So I'm going to go with Lawrence. I'm going to go with the long hair. Hopefully he doesn't pull the Justin Herbert and cut it at any point. So I'm going all for Trevor.
Yeah, I think in Dynasty it's definitely very close. I wouldn't be upset with whoever somebody favored more.
I think they're all three close. Not to cut you off, but put Lance in the question too. I think they're all three close.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. If I put Lance in there, I'd pick him first. But if it's just Fields and Lawrence, I think I lean towards Fields. I don't think either of them have great team situations between the Jacksonville's coaching. As drop the mic, talking about Urban being an issue.
Yes,
I agree. And then between the fact that Chicago doesn't have a great team put together, Allen Robinson's on a franchise tag. He might not be there next year. So both teams could be in a rebuild. So I think that's a wash. So give me Fields' upside of being able to run. Now Lawrence can run too, so don't get me wrong. I just think there's going to be more rushing opportunities for Fields, and I just see him being a little more electric. So give me that risk, where I think Lawrence, everyone kind of feels as being safer. He's been comped to Andrew Luck. But I think they're very, very close. So I think it's more of who are you feeling, what's your gut? But yeah, if we threw Lance in there, I'd pick Lance first, just because he just feels so much more exciting, and he's a little bit younger. And I think that team is built now to win, whereas the other two are not built to win.
Yeah, I think I go Lance, Lawrence, Fields if Lance is in there. But like you said, it is literally like 1A, 1B, 1C, and it's just pick your person.
I think if you started a dynasty right now and say it's super flex and you needed a quarterback and you had a top pick in a rookie draft, it would be Lawrence because he's going to come in and make an impact right away. But if you have a team where Lance or Fields considers your QB3, then I think I'd take them over Lawrence. But the only reason why I also put Fields over Lawrence is because there's two bad defenses in the North, and the Vikings and the Lions. And there's only one in the AFC South, because I think the Titans defense is middling, and then the Colts defense is one of the better ones. And
but Houston's so bad.
Yeah. If you put it into consonants. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so that was our last question. So we appreciate everyone that submitted questions ahead of time for us, and everyone that was in the comments tonight. It was a lot of fun. A lot of great chat going on over there. Let's see. So do you guys have anything to plug this week for you, Toby?
Wallpaper Wednesdays this Wednesday, and that's about it. Check out Triple Play. Subscribe.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I'm going to write a couple articles about like little tips for your final drafts, and then obviously I'm going to try my trick shot that I do every day, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. I had a few articles drop earlier this week. So we had over at Fantasy and Frames, I did an ADP cheat sheet. So I did actually probably about a month ago. I'm just kind of going over the four main platforms of where some values based on how their ADP is set up, where you can take advantage in the draft room of your league mates, just going by ADP. So where those gaps at. And then so I just updated it over the weekend for the current ADP. So you can check that out. It's at Fantasy and Frames, or you can find it on my Twitter as well. And then I just had a Dynasty article drop with Dynasty Vipers going over breakout tight ends for like 2+ years down the road. So these are stash candidates. It was a part 2 of my series. I did one that was like more like looking at next year. This one's more looking at like 2+ seasons out. So just a hint on one of them was Jacob Harris was talked about, and he's been kind of a hot name in preseason, but that's definitely a future asset, something for you can stash. So check those articles out. And then we have a lot going on with Triple Play Fantasy this week. So we have the Triple Play Fantasy Superflex mock draft tomorrow. So that'll be a lot of fun. If you have any more drafts coming up, like I said, this week, you probably do. Check that out to help you get ready. We have an interview with Ryan Clark tomorrow as well, which is going to be awesome to have him on. And then for baseball, we're going to be having an episode on September stockpiling. So as you can see, we talk a lot of different sports on Triple Play Fantasy. So that's why it's important to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. But we have a lot of great content coming out. I'm going to plug Monkey Knife Fight one more time real quick. So you can see at the bottom there, use our code TRIPLEPLAY. If you're a first-time user, deposit $10. They'll match it. They'll even match up to $100. And like I said, it's just some free money for you to make some money. So have fun with that. Next week, we're not really sure what we're doing yet. I will not be here. Well, I'll just be honest. It's Labor Day, so we might have an episode Monday. We might do it some later in the week to get you ready for week one. But let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of waiver wire activity for week one. But no matter what, we'll definitely be here Monday Night Football week one, so in 2 weeks, to get you ready for week two. So that's when our show's really going to kick off, talking about waiver wire. That's why we're here. So definitely come check us out then. So if you're not already following us on Twitter, follow the show at the Tripwire Pod on Twitter. Like I said, subscribe everywhere for Triple Play, and then follow all of us as well. Anything else, guys, you have?
I'm good.
Rojo to the moon.
All right. Well, of course. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. I know we went a little long today. Normally, we're about a 30-minute show. We're going over 40 minutes, but we just want to answer as many questions as we could. Had a lot of fun with you guys, and have a good night.
Cheers.